What's up guys, it's me again. As you can see, a lot of construction is in order and it's been a very busy month. And it just got a bit busier. I've got about 18 to 20 or more baby ancillaries that I have to separate, and then I'm going on a big trip down south. So I figured I'd put in one last captive video for you guys. So without further ado, enjoy. So let's take a look at some of the mean and green, well, not mean, sly and sneaky at best, starting with an update on our beautiful West African green mamba. You may not have seen her on YouTube, but you've definitely seen her offspring. I've featured them before on a past feeding video, if you want to check that out. They're definitely sly. Now before I go any deeper, I have to mention the male who's been her longtime mate had passed away earlier this year. We're still uncertain of the cause, and I woke up to him limp on the enclosure floor. Both were long-term captive snakes. It could have been old age, as he was always acting normal until that fateful day. I can't help but feel sad for the female, as they would always sleep coiled around each other, and now it just seems empty. But he did not leave us empty-handed. He passed down his genes one last time before he drifted off. The man was getting lucky like every day, so I think he's lived a good life, to say the least. As time passes, she starts eating less. She sleeps on top of the nesting area. Now and then, I'll get a peek at her digging tunnels in the nest. Though it is a nest, it is quite an old one, and a new one was whipped up in no time and placed inside. The closer the due date approached, the more gray she looked, due to prelay shed, and the more I waited with great anticipation. Snakes shed throughout their lives, forever growing, forever healing. Normally, snakes will shed around 15 days after their ovulation, then you can expect eggs in a month more or less. Mambas just have that look on their face, like they're always planning something, plotting, devious. Now they are packed with deadly postsynaptic neurotoxins, a very fast-acting venom that destroys your central nervous system, putting you down quickly, turning you into a couch potato, and not a problem for those who already are one, but I figure it wouldn't be pleasant. The Western green mamba is definitely one of my favorites because of that pattern. They're utterly hypnotizing with the way they move, as bright green fades into yellow. Days come and go, till one morning I awoke to a fantastic surprise. She's laid another clutch of eggs inside the nest, a total of 5 big healthy eggs and 1 small slug. Now let's not drown in sorrow for that one and give her a big applause. Most snakes will lay their eggs in a place they deem safe enough, then leave. Mambas, however, will stick around. She coils around her eggs that are incubating right inside her enclosure. They're under her and she knows it. And don't worry, I've done this before. I check on them at all times to make sure the temperature is constant. I don't normally do this, but if you set it up right and keep it maintained, then you won't run into any issues. Every now and then, and I'll catch her checking on her eggs, looking under the covers, coiling around them, making sure they are safe. And I can't say that she gets defensive when it's me who's doing the poking under those sheets. The most I get, however, is a continuous stare, to make sure I don't take anything. She'd sit basking on one end, and doesn't lash out at me, so that's great. All we do now is wait, and I'll discuss one more thing. Notice when she realigns her jaws, you can't see a single fang or any teeth. That's because they're tiny, and they are all protected by her gums. They have fixed fangs that aren't designed to bite and hold on. What they do is bite their prey at lightning speed, letting go after contact. The prey succumbs to the venom sooner or later, and the snake will track it down and consume it without a single injury. A much safer tactic than holding it in place. Her sheaths slide back and forth as she bites down and retracts. Vipers have them as well, but their fangs are much larger and much more noticeable. Those protective sheaths play a crucial role to save them from getting bacterial infections. Of course, for anyone who'll just blab, it's defanged or whatever, feel free to come and take a chomp. I can finally start off that second business, selling caskets. Now it's time to say farewell, Mrs. Mamba. I'll be sure to film every part of the hatching and separating process, but until then, on to the green bean. Wait a second. That can't be right. Hey, what? Ah, yeah. The Asian vine snake. This is Ahatala prasina, a different species to the wild one encountered in my yard on the latest herp video. These guys have a shorter and slightly stubbier snout, built almost exactly the same way as each other. We are getting a glimpse of how these snakes go about their way at shedding their skin. Now in captivity, these guys are notorious for stuck sheds, along with a bunch of health problems, and for reasons which I'm about to break down. Oh look, there's a tiny little spiderling clinging to dear life. I didn't even notice that little guy. Stopping for a drink too. Guess shedding is a lot of work. Vine snakes are fully arboreal and will rarely want to drink out of a water bowl. Actually, they can't even seem to process what that even is. They're like chameleons, drinking water off leaves or water streaming down trees. Pay attention now to every little detail, because every little bit counts. I've never had trouble personally keeping these snakes in captivity. In Thailand, on the contrary, it is actually quite easy to breed them as well. However, in the US or Europe, captive bred is extremely hard to get, and it's not because people don't know how to keep them. Okay, actually that factors in quite a little, but the main reason is wild-caught imports. These are extremely fragile snakes with tiny bodies, some with a bonus set of parasite hitchhikers. Not all of them can handle the elevation and the drastic changes in temperature and humidity. They are prone to stress. If shedding problems occur, then it's going to be even more work. I can only imagine how many drop from the thousands imported every year, along with other species of snakes, some more or less sensitive. Now whoa there. The reptile trade is full of wild-caught specimens, along with every other animal hobby, and there is no changing that, at least for a long while. But people can definitely change the way they treat these sensitive animals. If you are going to pluck them from their native home, then you should at least do your best to give it the least stressful life possible, with correct temps, humidity, and enough foliage. Your vine snake will thrive. Try to get captive bred. It will always be the better option. High price shouldn't even be an issue, as you'll probably end up spending way more on vet bills trying to get a sick or already dying snake back to health anyway. These goofy snakes have incredible eyesight and rely on it to hunt their prey, which includes frogs and lizards, and big enough ones will take on birds. There's even recordings of them striking at fish, yanking them right out of the water. Very cool little snakes. On to the next one. My stunning Pope's Pit Viper. Grumpy in the face? Sure, but don't let that determine who he is on the inside. Actually, he can be quite a bit grumpy. And today I'll be feeding him a frozen thawed mouse. and he is quite the odd one because now and then he'll strike out defensively as a leave him alone type of bite, and then he'll realize that it's feeding time and that the object in front of him is actually food, so he'll hold on. Notice how compared to the mamba, they have different hunting methods. Strike and release versus strike and hold on. Since vipers are not active hunters, they prefer not to chase after their food. Many are just too out of shape for that anyway. Mambas are not ambush predators. They chase after prey all the time. You can tell this by looking at their pupils as well. Big and round pupils dictates that the snake is a diurnal hunter, chasing prey during the day. And slit eyes, especially with heat pits, mean that the snake is a nocturnal ambush hunter, waiting for the heat signature or a prey item to walk by and then strike. I always like watching feeding videos because I think it's interesting. Observe how they move their fangs to walk down their prey. Thankfully, this is not how humans eat. And notice how their breathing tube has extended out because the meal has taken up all space. Their venom is made up of mainly neurotoxins, unlike most vipers. They bite and hold on to their prey, waiting for it to die in their locked jaws. Now I have encountered quite a few individuals, and if you want to see me herp one in the wild, I'll put a link to the video in the top right corner right there. If you're interested, give it a look. But for now he just wants to rest after enjoying that big meal, and I'd love more than anything to continue on. But I have a big batch of blue ancillaris babies to house and a trip down south to make. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next one.